And yes, I'm not outside again. We got another bad winter storm going on out there. It's like raining, and then we're supposed to get heavy sleet and then snow. I don't know. It's just a mess. And I've got to go to church this morning, so I can't take Annie out there in this mess. I don't have time to give her a bath. So I figured I'd change it up by putting a hat on. And at least it looks different than my night lives. I got someone making noise outside my door. We're going to call today's Bible passage A New Beginning with God. And we're going to be in Romans chapter 5, verses 6 through 11. And the key verse, verse 8, the Apostle Paul writes, "While we were still sinners, Christ died for us." While we were still sinners, Christ died for us. Now, first, I want to let you guys know I'm not a pastor or preacher. I just like talking about the Bible. And I'm not a therapist or counselor or doctor. But I do believe mental health is spiritual health. And that's why I like talking about passages from the Bible in the morning. Hey, good morning, Frank Mariner. Yeah, you'll notice I'm inside. And that's because, well, I got my sunlight on here that Frank gave me to make it look like I'm outside. But it's pretty nasty out there again. I don't have time to give Annie a bath. And it's like just windy and rainy, and it's supposed to be sleety and snow here anytime. So that's why I didn't go out. But I figured I'd put my hat on so I'd look different than I did at night. So we're going to talk about a new beginning with God. Romans chapter 5, verses 6 through 11. Annie thinks we're going, and I keep telling her no. She's standing by the door whining. Sorry, Annie. Maybe this afternoon. All right. Well, I don't know. Have you guys ever seen Annie, one of Rembrandt's masterpieces? It's about 400 years old. He did it in 1633. It's called The Raising of the Cross. The Raising of the Cross. So obviously the main figure in that painting is Jesus. He's a little bit more. They're raising the cross. He's already on it. It's at more than a 45-degree angle already. They're standing it up. But there's a couple guys that stand out in this painting. One of them is in like a light. He's like highlighted in like a light. And he looks different than everybody else. He's dressed different, like in the style of Rembrandt's day. He also has a hat on that Rembrandt used to wear all the time. And then when you look at his face, you're like, oh, that's Rembrandt himself helping to raise the cross of Jesus. You know, because he's part of it. And then there's another gentleman on a horse in the background, staring at the viewer who's looking at the painting. And some people think it's a second portrait of Rembrandt. Could be. But it's really eerie. He's kind of looking at the viewer, and his expression is like, aren't you here too? At the raising of the cross? Well, that's how I feel when I look at that painting. Now, I know the Apostle Paul would feel that same thing, because that's what he wrote in Romans chapter 5. Hey, Dolly, good morning. Good morning, CSH. Paul saw himself there. And you guys may too, if you look at it. Rembrandt, The Raising of the Cross. Look up that painting. Because Jesus suffered and died for us as well as he did for Rembrandt. And in Romans 5:10, he refers to himself and us as, quote, God's enemies at the time. We were God's enemies. That's why we're there helping to raise the cross. But even though our sins caused Jesus' death, his death reconciles us to God. I think you know that. So even though we were his enemies, he died for us and reconciled ourselves to God. And Paul writes, God demonstrates his own love for us in this: while we were still sinners, Christ died for us. Verse 8. So I think we can say, if you're a Christian, we kind of both stand with Rembrandt and the Apostle Paul in sinners' need of forgiveness. We're there. We're helping raise the cross. Excuse me. And through his cross, Jesus offers us what we couldn't do for ourselves, right? And meets our deepest need with a new beginning with God. And that's why it's called A New Beginning with God. Now, I got a couple questions for you guys. One, how were you once an enemy of God? How were you once an enemy of God? I know I was before I was a Christian. And number two, in what ways can you live as his friend today? In what ways can you live as his friend today? That's what I got. Interested to hear what you guys think. Hey, good morning, everybody. Yeah, I'm in Columbus, Ohio. It's 7:21 in the morning right now. Thanks for joining. I slept okay, Dolly. I woke up at least once, which I usually do. How about you? Did you get good sleep? Hey, Toha. Hey, Rebecca. You're back. Thanks for coming back. Thanks for coming back. In what ways can you live as God's friend today? Well, I think you can just share Jesus with other people, obviously. I still struggle with doing that. I even saw a famous speaker. I don't know his name. If I said his name, I think you guys would know it. He's a Christian theologian, he's a teacher. Heck, it might be Charles Swindoll. I don't know. But I saw this video the other day, and there was this bar, and he knew that these guys were looking for prostitutes in this one bar. So he said, well, I'm going to go in there. And I should share Jesus with them. So he kind of gets out of his car, walks up to the bar door, but then he chickens out and he keeps walking by it. And then he goes back to his car. But when he gets back to his car, he's reminded of a Bible verse that talks about what all the apostles suffered to share Jesus, what they suffered. So then he felt guilty, geez, I can't deal with a little embarrassment if I'm going to feel embarrassed that I can't walk in here and share Jesus with these guys. So then it gives him the fortitude to go back into the bar and start talking to these guys about it. But then the bartender tells him to shut up and that there is no God, and that the God is the cash register, meaning he's ruining his livelihood by coming in here and trying to get people to leave this bar, which is probably known for prostitution. And the bartender finally, after he was saying, well, the cash register is an idol, he kind of the bartender walked around the bar, grabbed this guy by the elbow, and escorted him out of the bar. But at least he had the fortitude to go back in there. It was funny. Ah, yeah, 1223 in England. Nice. Yeah, I was a Christian theologian. Yeah, why couldn't you stay in bed more, Dolly? Couldn't you stay in bed? All right. Have a good day, Rebecca. I've got to go too here pretty soon. I'm talking to the duck. That's funny. That's a funny joke, Wayne. Hey, good morning, hiking. Do I see myself as above someone who isn't a Christian? Oh my God, no. No, we're all the same. We're all the same. I'm not any better than anybody else. That's why I'm a Christian. That's how everybody should be viewed. And God says love everybody. Jesus told us to love everybody without exception. So even as a Christian, you have to think that way too. You have to get up and make donuts at 4 a.m. when you're a donutier. That's so funny. I like that, Mariner. I see myself above people when I get on top of that. That's true. I do see myself above most people because I'm 6'8", so I'm pretty tall. All right, guys. Hey, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go to church, but I encourage you to take a look at Rembrandt. Google Rembrandt's masterpiece from 1633. It's called "The Raising of the Cross." The Raising of the Cross by Rembrandt. Take a look at those two guys in that painting. It's pretty interesting. It's pretty cool. Oh, yeah, not everybody's a Christian. Yeah, that's true. I apologize, hiking. Yeah, I don't want to force anything on anybody. My bad. Wayne, you're 5'6". I am above you. All right, guys, have a great day. Hopefully you guys could get to go to church, or you think about going to church. I'm going to go to church and go to a couple Bible studies. And I got to go get cleaned up. So thanks for joining. And hopefully I'll see you tonight where we're going to look at some album covers, all right? And take a look at that Rembrandt painting, The Raising of the Cross. It is a sort of a Christian-oriented stream. Yeah. All right. Have an awesome day, guys. Have a blessed day. We'll see you. Thanks again for joining Wayne, Rebecca, Mariner, Frank, Dolly, everybody. Peace.